Welcome. We'll call to order the regular board meeting of the Hicksville Exempted Village Board of Education. Roll call.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Iden?
Here.
Mrs. Jones?
Here.
Mrs. Mazur?
Here.
Mr. Methvin?
Here.
Mrs. Carrier?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to all of our visitors for coming. Ms. Van Horn, you have a presentation for us.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk to you tonight about a new class that we have added to the 7th grade schedule this year called Serving Our Community. And I brought with me 3 students, Devin Allen, Natalie Sarche, and Riley Brentler, who are going to talk a little bit. So first of all, I want to talk about how the class works. As I mentioned, it is a class for 7th graders, and all 7th graders do have this class. It is a half of a quarter, so it ends up being about a 1-month-long class. And the whole purpose is to develop and carry out a service project to benefit the community. And we talk about how important it is to do something to give back to the community. So their project cannot be something that's going to benefit themselves as students. It can't benefit our school. It's got to be something to give back to the community. So this just shows basically how the class is run. In fact, today was the first day for a new class, and so they're right now in the challenge phase, and they're brainstorming, and they're thinking of different ideas. And I'll tell you, this phase is really interesting because 7th graders have a lot of different ideas, and it's kind of neat to see where they end up. Oh, I wasn't done yet. After they brainstorm, then they do formulate a plan, and they figure out how they're going to get to their goal. They complete the project, and then I make them give a formal presentation where they talk about what the project was about. They share this with other classmates as well as administration. And then a really important part is I make them reflect on what they have done. So this class is not a typical class. It's not an academic class where they're learning something and taking notes. It's a class where they learn the soft skills, those 21st century skills. One of the biggest ones is collaboration. Each group is different. It's generally 6 to 11 or 12 students in there at a time. And these could be their friends, it could be people they don't even know, and it could be people they really don't like, but they have to work together for one goal. They learn to respect each other, they work on their leadership skills, and they learn to be flexible. They also work on their communication skills. Natalie's going to talk about this in a minute. But they do have to work on talking to other people. And I try to make it something where they have to talk to adults, people they don't know, and it pushes them out of their comfort zone, and it's kind of an exciting moment. They also work on their presentational skills and being good communicators. They also work on work ethic, taking initiative. This is a project that I don't do it. It's not my project at all. I give them a framework, and I try to give them some adult feedback, but it's their project. And so that gives them a sense of fulfillment, but it's all on them. They work on professionalism, dependability, and goal setting. And we talk quite a bit about goal setting because sometimes they don't really know what to do with their goal, and I try to show them that they need to make those goals higher than what they think and rise up. They also work on critical thinking skills. It's actually really important in the brainstorming phase. They need to think about what are some needs in the community. And for a lot of them, they really don't know until you start talking, like we do a little virtual walk through town and see the things that they see on a daily basis, but they never really thought about how they get there. Problem solving is very important. And then creativity, they have to develop a plan. So now I'm going to have some of these students come up and talk about their past projects. The first one they did was a canned food drive. Go ahead, Natalie.
I'm Natalie Sarche, and I was part of the first quarter Serving Our Community class. During the actual making of our project, we voted multiple times before finally deciding on the canned food drive. Every morning for about a week, a few of our girls would set up a station where they could collect cans and other food items in the school drop-off. We also
we had was a group of young men that made bird feeders for the nursing home. And Devin, can you talk about that?
Hi, my name is Devin Prom, and what we did was we did bird feeders and nice notes, and we had put them up in the nursing home. How we got there was basically Mr. Altman had to take us, and we had to do important planning. It was very hard, and it's very messy building them. We had to go down every day in the cafeteria, take supplies with us, come back up, go back down every day, and then we, at the last, I think it was the last day, we had decided to do notes, and so we basically did notes and put them on everyone's windows, and then basically we had reflected, and overall the class was really fun. Thank you.
Our third group, this was in the month of November, and they were really clever, and they decided instantly they wanted to do something with pumpkin pies. And they decided they were going to change the name of our class even to thanking our community instead of serving our community. And so over the course of that time, we baked 8 pies and 5 dozen cookies, and they gave them to various businesses in town. This class in particular, we had a little bit of a struggle because it was a small class to begin with, but we had a couple of kiddos that were quarantined as well, and so this was one of the classes where they had to do some problem solving and extra thinking. And this group was in December. This one was probably the most challenging, and I'll let Riley explain why.
Hi, I'm Riley Breckler, and today I'm going to be telling you guys about what my project was for serving our community class. What we did was we took 80 mugs, we filled them up with candy and thank you notes, and get well cards. We gave them to the hospital. The reason why we did this was because the people at the hospital were working during COVID, and the ones with the get well letters, we gave them to the hospital's patients because due to COVID they could not go because it was due to COVID. Nobody could go see them around Christmas time, so we thought that would be nice. And we also included a little I forget what it's called. But it was a cameo thing kind of and we just thanked them. And we also had a really big time crunch. I don't remember exactly how long we had, but we did not have that much due to COVID.
I'm going to stop you right there because this one was a challenging one. They ended up really only having 1 whole week with me because of the timing. They started with me the full week before Christmas break. We had some things planned that week of Christmas break or when it started. And the week after then, we did take the week off because of, we took the week off for remote learning. And then the following week, I had to make sure they got their presentation in, so they only had time for that. So how many days did it take us to put all those together?
Well,
Remember?
to get all the mugs, we needed 80 mugs, around 80 mugs, and then just 2 home bases, that's 30 minutes, we had mugs, because we asked every teacher that we could ask, and then I don't remember how many days.
2 days.
2 days.
2 days they completed the whole thing.
And Mr. Altman, he drove us in a van to the hospital. And then also I would like to talk about, I barely knew these guys, and we didn't really know each other that much. I don't know if they really knew, but I did not really know them that much. But it's amazing how we didn't really know each other that much. In the very first 3 days, we spent arguing about what our idea will be. And then the next day, we were separating with we had groups and we were going to do separate projects, but then we eventually merged our ideas, and I feel like we became really close thanks to this project. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And then our last group, they just finished last week. Friday was their last day with me, and they decided to do an online auction to raise money for the Softball Association, and they raised over $500. And there's not a picture of them because we haven't given them the check yet. So I thought I was initially going to end with a quote about serving and volunteerism, and then I realized some of the best quotes I could find are in their reflections. So these are quotes from actual students. That I didn't force them to say these things. I just thought they were really special. So the first one says, "You feel good when you give back. I learned that it feels good to give back to the community. I learned how to be more out of my comfort zone. Something that I've learned from completing this project is that teamwork really does matter. And I learned how to communicate and work with other people." Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys did an awesome job. Thank you
Yes.
for coming and presenting to us and talking a little bit about your class. You guys just did a wonderful job, and thank you, Kelly. What a great class and what a great opportunity for the kids.
It really is. I feel really blessed to be the one that gets to do this. It's kind of been really neat.
I really love that community service thing that you do, Kelly, and I appreciate you being able to work with me and get these kids some
Yeah.
recognition.
Stuff has been amazing. I'll have another picture for you soon, to put in paper.
Well, and these are great life skills too. You've got collaboration, time management, teamwork. It's an awesome concept.
That's great for the community too. I mean, the nursing home taking stuff, I'm sure they really appreciate
Oh,
it.
they loved it.
Seeing the kids outside.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
kids.
very much.
Next up, we have Mr. Smith.
Want me to keep doing the same thing?
You might be able to
Okay.
I don't want to put too much on you.
Oh, no.
He does a really nice job.
Thank
Obviously
you,
not
Kelly.
trainable, so.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Schaefer showed me how to do all this stuff, so.
So if it goes wrong, we'll blame
So,
him.
yeah,
That's what I was
we'll
thinking.
play
That's
it.
right.
Doesn't work. You might have to do it here, Dan. No problem. There it is. There we go. All right, well, I just thank you guys for, I guess, giving me some time here to talk to you guys about the update on the strength and conditioning facility. I've been working a lot with Mr. Countryman and a lot of other people to kind of get this thing going, and he told me he wanted me to come present or whatever. I said, not a problem. So first, just thank you for your support as a board, just with the, I mean, not just the whole project in general, but the strength and conditioning stuff specifically for me, your guys' generosity, along with the athletic boosters, the school foundation, the Hicksville Rotary, and also the Defiance Area Foundation. They all came through with grants that kind of help us bridge the gap between what the board was willing to give and also what we were hoping to get out there. So this started like, I looked at my emails, I found a couple from back in the fall of 2019 when I started contacting a couple of different places to get some designs and quotes and just kind of started working from there. And we have been able to kind of take those initial 4 or 5, whatever it was, bids and quotes and kind of started to work with them. We picked our top 2, and then Mr. Hutt, Mr. Countryman, and I think before Thanksgiving, went to one place to go visit their facilities, and then maybe after Thanksgiving, I think we went to another one, and we were able to pick our final company that we wanted to work with for a variety of reasons. One was they custom make everything right there in their own facility, so it's not some big corporation that you're paying extra money for. They're based out of Ohio, is where they're down in Columbus and New York, whatever. And so we went with them, and they've also kind of helped us with some other stuff in the past here. And financially, they are able to provide us with the equipment within our budget for both the new facility and for our current weight room to have that help get that set up as a cardio type, fitness type room. So that's kind of where we went with them. I've got a couple of pictures. It's kind of hard to see because of the black flooring, but there's a couple of ellipticals up in here. There's 3 ellipticals we have planned right now, a stair stepper, a couple of bikes. It's really hard to see. There's this cable crossover system that I've talked with Jake North and Doc Haggerty about as far as rehabbing athletes and that sort of stuff. A couple of treadmills, and it's hard to see. There's a dumbbell rack down here just with 5 to 25 pounders. And we wanted to keep the middle open as of right now so that we can use it for boxes and ladders and just all the stuff for fitness and rehab that Doc and Jake would use with those kids a lot. So that's kind of the vision for that room. Here's like the main, as you'd walk in those double doors there at the bottom, so kind of a visual to see into it from that direction, and then also one from kind of back behind as you're in the gym looking towards the front of it. So, and then they provide a little visual, little walkthrough type here for us. So that should be a really nice, I think, facility, good use for the square feet that we have there. And then here's kind of a look at the new facility. It's about 2.5 times the size that we have right now, so we're able to basically put 2.5 times the equipment in there. Right now, in our current one, we have 6 stations, or 2 of those double-sided half racks. We're able to have, we've got 5 up there, and we got 15 stations compared to the 6 we have right now, along with some other equipment. So this is kind of the aerial looking straight down. Here's kind of the look as you're in the gym, looking into the windows and the doors. And this would be at the back side if you were outside looking in. And then again, they've got a little video here. It's incredible the stuff they can do. So still just working on a few little details of it, kind of fine tuning, but we're here in the final stages where I'm really wanting to get paperwork done, submit that purchase order this week, and in part because steel prices are looking to jump at some point here, and we're right there where their company has said we are good to go, but we need the lock soon so we can guarantee the prices that we're at. So that's kind of where we're at. Last time I talked to Mr. Countryman, we're looking at August 1st is kind of like that target date for delivery of equipment. That way we don't have to store it anywhere. They don't have to store it. They usually work about 3 months back, I believe, from when the install date is, and we'll start producing so things time up really well. Do I have any questions from you guys?
No, but, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you for coming and showing this, and thank you. I know you mentioned the grants. What you didn't mention was how much work you put into getting those grants. So thank you
Oh, you're welcome.
for the work that you
Very
did.
generous people. I didn't have to do a ton of work. I just had to fill out some paperwork, and people were more than generous around here.
So we appreciate your work.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And I just want to say that from various kids, I've heard that they really like your strength and conditioning classes, and I'm kind of excited about the new class that you have next year, that physical fitness class, which I think is going to be excellent. It makes me happy that, you know, they're not just doing the gym credits, that they're doing something that they can take with them and be able to do even as they go into college or on their own in another gym, and do it safely and learning it correctly. So, I mean, I really think that's a good thing.
It's neat to see, not just from a physical standpoint, people underestimate the value mentally and emotionally that fitness does for kids, for people.
So Lucas, one of the things we wanted to accomplish with those classes was help alleviate kids having to come in at 6 in the morning to lift. So you don't have to do that anymore. And how many kids do you have participating in those classes?
71 or 72 right now amongst 4 periods of weightlifting.
We have roughly 120, I think, sign up for next year.
Okay.
And of course, the goal is we teach health also. Then we have all-female course that we offer of strength conditioning, and then we have currently we have 4 strength conditioning
Yeah.
this year.
3, and then we have 4. 3 are co-ed, and
I want to thank you for being kind of the visionary and the go-to person for this whole part, because it will turn out so much better because of all the time and involvement you've put in. I appreciate
you
it.
guys trusting me to go do it.
Yes, thank you for researching it, and really,
Yes.
Keith has been kind of keeping us up to date on the work that you've been doing. And, yeah.
The companies love you too, don't they, Lucas?
Well, speaking of that, I got a phone call
They
tonight.
called me and told me to take his computer away from him.
I'm
Just
sure
kidding.
they were annoyed by me because, of course, they gave me their cell phone, so you can blow them up, text and email it, and it got to the point I think he wanted to say a few things to me about leaving him alone, but I got a text from him tonight. They were in a staff meeting talking about our project, and they decided that they want to, they're rolling out some brand new equipment, brand new racks, and they want us, they gave me permission to share this, Mr. Countryman.
Okay.
They want to upgrade us to their newest stuff for the same price as their
Awesome.
other stuff, and they want us to be their showcase facility. So
That's awesome.
Okay, you know what?
that was,
Okay.
so their new racks kind of look like, their new racks look like that. That's some of the lap pull down facility. We've got 3 of those planned in there. Some of the neat things they have, like where you put your feet underneath here and do your lap pull downs and stuff. These things even fold up to stay out of the way for safety. It is pretty incredible, and that's kind of their design they're looking at for in there. So.
Lucas, you know what that reminds me of? We have this building largely because Kevin Miller was exactly what you were through this process. And he was, I'm sure, a pain to contractors and
Well,
some
he
of those
was.
people. They even said something at the dedication, you know,
Yeah.
about him. But that's what it takes. So thank you for doing that for us.
So I'm pretty pumped. I confirm, I'm like, can I please share this tonight in the board meeting? And he sent me some pictures, so I threw those on just real quick, and so I wanted you guys to see this first. So.
I hadn't said anything to anybody about that, so
I kept the
that's why I
secret
gave
too.
you the eyes. Are you supposed to say this?
Lucas, can I have is that the name of the company? Just,
Yes, it's Stray Dog.
We were very impressed. The 2 companies were impressive, but this company was really impressive, and Keith and I learned a lot about the weight room and stuff that we had no idea about, so it was a good learning experience for us.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Lucas.
Okay, next up, Mr. Bassett. Are you going to be able to follow up those 2?
Okay.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on. Been really busy the month of February, plowing, salting, and stacking a lot of snow. I think the Board of Education back in 2014 was on there for allowing the maintenance department to purchase the tractor, the loader, and the cab. Without it, we would not have been able to move all that snow. We had this last time without contracting some of that out. I know just that one day, John and I spent 25 hours here, the 2 of us, getting all the snow moved and stacked and moved around so you can drive around all the light poles, and it was a long day. But it seemed like every day last week, it looks like the weather in the future is looking a little bit better for snow. And so the next thing, before you know it, it'll be March, and it'll be close to springtime, and we've already had the mowers taken in for part of the downtime guarantee program. They're all ready, serviced, ready to go. We picked those back up, I think it was towards the middle of January, so they're ready to go. A lot of stuff going on with the new building addition. I've been working with 5 different furniture companies, getting quotes on stocking the new athletic academic complex. Have another tour scheduled for March 9th, where Mr. Countryman, Mr. Adams, and I will be traveling to Seville, Ohio, to look at a showroom that should have a little bit of everything that we're getting prices from. It's one of the 5 vendors. I have give a tour on last Friday with the company. There's 3 people here that brought their own furniture in. I'm still waiting for prices from them. Right now, I believe I have 8 quotes, 5 companies. Only 4 of them have quoted, but some of them have quoted their top of the line and their mid-grade. So we're trying to see what we can get, best bang for the buck. Also working with 3 companies. The new athletic academic complex will need some new cleaning equipment, especially for that rubber floor that will be going on the gym floor. Looking at a drivable scrubber, and working with 3 companies on quotes for that. We'll also be able to utilize that same drivable machine and be able to spend more time getting all of our hallway tiles done. When we got done at the gym, we used that same machine down the main event hallway just to see what it would do, and they did a great job. So I'm not sure which company we'll go with. We're looking for prices right now. I have another demo scheduled for next week on that one. Also, we've been attending weekly contractor meetings, working on all the contractors on a daily, weekly basis, anything from the plumbing, electrical contractors. And they come up with a lot of different things. Paint colors, when you start looking at the prints and you're looking at our existing building and what they were looking at painting some of the stuff out there, it wasn't really ringing about what they were thinking, and we got some paint colors back to being normal. Access controls is something the school is in charge of on their own, so they can tie it into our current system, so we're not buying a whole other computer system server. So they're working with them on that. Door locks and keying up the building for all the doors. We're also responsible for the camera install. We already have a state-of-the-art, a pretty new camera system, 114 cameras on the property. We're adding more cameras to it. It'd be nice if they could all be integrated together, all used from the same app, the same computer. So right now they're hopefully start installing some of that cabling in the next week and a half before ceiling grid starts going in the classrooms. And also been anything from logos they need for the wall pads, the basketball court, the signage, athletic equipment, flooring in the classrooms and bringing different samples. The weight room flooring has been a big deal. The gym flooring has been a big deal for some of the vendors that have been switched around. Color of the backboards of course, color of the sound system speakers, batting cage, net color. They have something almost every day too. So color toilet partitions, scoreboard color. Every day there's something. Had some issues with the directional board. I don't know if you guys are aware of that or not. Been in the main event entrance and seen some of the snow fence up with some cones on the one area. They were doing the directional bore, which was tying in the sewer from the new building to the existing building. The best location was over in between the small parking lot and the large parking lot. And when they were directional boring an 8-inch pipe underneath there, they ended up heaving up the concrete on both sides of it. They're responsible 100% for fixing it when the weather turns nice. And they also shifted one of the pillars on the wall, the landscape wall. It's not level. They actually brought out a transit and shot it. And I think they said that one pillar was 3 inches higher than the rest of them. So they have to fix all that too. That's all it would cost. We also had 2 overhead doors installed in the back of the existing Morton building out back. When the new complex is done, the dumpsters are being relocated due to the heat and air conditioning equipment, and we will not be able to utilize that front door for a bus. It was the only big overhead door we had, so this way we'll be able to get 2 of the buses in the bus barn from the back fire lane that's been rerouted. And then this will only leave us having 1 bus parked outside. Currently, right now, we have 3 buses parked outside because the bus barn is not big enough for the larger buses. And so we got all the new ones in, but the old ones are sitting outside right now. We're also lining up mulch and mulch spreader for spring break. Normally we get a semi-load of mulch. Last year, due to COVID and some budgetary stuff, we cut out a lot of different contracts to save money, and that's one of the things we want to definitely get done. Most of the mulch has been broken down and doesn't look very pleasant around the building. Also working with a couple different contractors on sealing and striping all the asphalt parking lots and drives. The whole idea from last year not doing it, every 2 years we seal and stripe all the parking lot. We didn't do it last year, another thing for budget, but the other reason behind that, about $20,000 project, was we wanted the new complex and all the blacktop on it and all the parking spots and the new road to be on the same schedule as the existing. So this way, everything when we go to move in a new building, have a new addition done, it all looks all brand new on the outside. So working on prices on that. I'm working with the company we've always used, but I'm also touching base with the company that's doing the blacktop work on the existing road. They already have all their equipment on site. It might be a little cheaper since they're already here. He was supposed to be here a couple weeks ago, and then the weather turned bad, so I'll have to come back here and give you some prices. And also, hopefully we finish tomorrow, but all the air filters in the building will be changed. I've been working on those last week, just trying to get it done, but all the snow kind of put a damper on things, and got the rest of them done in all the academic classes. We just have about 25 filters out of about 300 to do, so on the backside of the building. So hopefully that will all be done tomorrow. I think that's it.
I would just like to publicly say how appreciative I am of Eric, because he doesn't miss a detail, as you know, from past experience and everything else that happens around here in that department. He's all over it, so I appreciate his watchful eye and getting with me and covering what needs to be covered. But thank you, Eric, because it means a lot for you to be on top of that like that.
I completely agree. I mean, backsplash, toilet dividers, and you're on top of everything. I have no doubt of that. You are so on it. Every time we ask you questions, you just can rattle stuff off. And so we just really appreciate you being on top of everything. I'm sure the whole board really appreciates you.
Yeah, and his partner in crime, John.
Yeah, John.
They're like the dynamic duo together. They're pretty awesome.
Well, their attention to detail shows every time you walk in
Oh,
the building.
absolutely.
This place looks brand new.
Yeah.
And we've had some of the contractors come back in here, because we have like Olds Electric back here, some other contractors, Secure Counts back in here, and they walk through the building and they're amazed. There's also an area, some of them are stained block around the building. I know I've gotten prices, probably 5 or 6 years ago, about getting the stain back, because a lot of it's faded. You walk down the main event entrance and look underneath the windows in the courtyard, they're really starting to discolor. Anyone that comes down that main drive, if you drive down the new road, and as soon as you start to drive back there, you look at the existing building and the new addition, there's one section I definitely want to make sure we get painted before we open up to this horrible. I sent pictures and-
Do you know what?
I showed Keith and he said, oh man, he said.
Yeah, I talked to you guys about that a couple of years ago. Do you remember that? All those sections in between the doors, remember we had, or the windows, and so I think we should take a look at, I know, we'll have to check, see how that money works out on that and where we can
That's one
come up
section
with that.
definitely, it's gonna be nice or every time you drive down.
But he also talked to the painters about that, asking how long that should last, and they said typically around 10 years, that painting of those those blocks, right? So
So
it's been 12 at least with the, so.
We've sealed over that though, haven't we?
No, not on the outside.
Okay.
No.
I
All
thought
they
we
ever
did an outside.
When we moved in the building, they had some fluorescence, and they did an acid wash on it to clean it all up, but nothing on the outside of the building's ever been sealed or painted or stained.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking it was a few years ago where they came through and sealed the whole outside, but, okay.
So you're working with them on pricing on that, right? Okay.
Eric, really quickly, if you haven't shared it with Jan, could you share that with me so I can get it to the Tribune? Just your
Okay.
whole
Yep.
notes.
Yep, sure can.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Yep, thanks, Eric.
Okay, Mr. Altman.
Nice job, Bassett. There's still battery life.
You haven't got it yet.
Yeah. Mr.
You're
Slattery
making
hasn't
sure it
been
runs
there.
out for you,
I
Jeff.
love that guy.
In the past years, our staff has done data dives around this time of year, but with no state testing to dive into, Mr. Hunter came to me with the idea of an educational discussion day on a selected topic. So after talking with him and some other teachers, we realized that our teachers have been giving very little training on grading practices, and therefore, we are going to have an educational discussion on research-based ideas for grading practices. Mr. Hunter created and will leave our teachers with research-based ideas and rich discussion with professional colleagues on ideas that can transform their grading practices. Mr. Hunter will be leading this this week in small groups for the middle school staff, and hoping that it kind of transforms how we think about grading and grading practices for our staff. With that said, I would like to thank Mr. Hunter for all of his insights and thoughts and ideas for education. As when you get behind the principal's desk, you spend a lot of time doing little things that you can't think big picture, and it's kind of brought that to life for me, so I appreciate that. Mrs. Chamberlain has noticed different issues that have arisen with our students, and we need better training on technology and social media. Deputy Phipps, Officer Grants, and herself have been presenting to each grade level over the past several weeks. She's been taking that presentation and adding a few more slides to it, and she's going to send that to the parents to hopefully make sure that they are enlightened and our students truly know the effect of social media presence and how to make smarter decisions going forward. And then lastly, Mrs. Saunders just finished her OELPA testing for her ELL students. Mrs. Kaufman gave some notes as well for the elementary as she could not make it here today. She has kindergarten registration for the 21-22 school year. Is scheduled at the school on March 11th and 12th. Parents and children turning 5 by September 30th are encouraged to call the school secretary and register. Currently, we have 51 students registered. Our 17 current readiness students are moving into kindergarten next year. And then finally, spring testing for 3rd and 4th grade ELA is scheduled for March 23rd and 25th. Thank you.
Thank you.
So those kindergarten numbers are very similar to previous years. What was it, 51 you said?
51 is currently registered.
51, and then we have the 17 readiness on top of that. So it should be a pretty good class again, because there's always people that haven't registered yet, so.
When did you say the ELA is for third grade?
ELA testing is 23rd and 25th of March.
Wow,
So it moved early.
soon.
Mhm.
That's just the third grade or fourth grade.
Third and fourth grade, yeah.
Ours
Right.
will not.
Right, right,
I think it was moved because of spring break.
right, wow.
Okay, Mr. Slattery.
All right, the high school principal report. First off, I want to commend Mr. Altman and his work with Mr. Hunter on the program they're going to be developing, or they're presenting tomorrow on the grading practices. And to note that Mrs. Kaufman's teachers, we were third and fourth grade teachers, are going to go through that same training. And then the high school teachers, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to wait until after testing in May to have that same presentation. But we appreciate all the work that Mr. Hunter did. Of course, I'll let Mr. Altman tell you short. He put a lot of work into that too, so we appreciate that. Senior coordination. Our seniors, along with coordination advisors, Mrs. Geiger and Mrs. Zachrich, are preparing for coordination this year. Keep in mind that it is Saturday, March 6, 2021. Our goal is to have coordination here at the school rather than at the Huber based on capacity restrictions, things like that. We're basing it pretty much on like that 50% standard of what we can have in the commons. And speaking with Mr. Bassett and Mr. Adams, along with a few other people that were involved in this process, we figured that we will base those tickets on the number of students participating in the program. So we're hoping to have 4 tickets per senior participant during coordination on Saturday, March 6, 2021. Now, with that being said, that means, typically it's a big event for our school and all of the students typically attend this event. Because they will not all be available for attendance based on those restrictions, we've decided to do something new this year. On the 5th, that Friday afternoon, we're inviting back all of our juniors, seniors from Fort County Career Center, and of course our high school staff and our high school students will all go down to the Commons, and we'll do a presentation of coordination for them also. And they're actually the seniors are kind of excited because it's like a practice run too, get some of those jitters out of the way, and maybe a few of those kinks. So we're excited about something new this year, and we're really excited that we're going to be able to, again, have senior coordination presentation this year. The next couple items I'm going to talk about, I'm kind of sharing information, and I'm hoping for support, but I know at the same time we're dealing with a few things. Senior trip, I know that last time in January when we spoke, we discussed the idea of pushing senior trip back. I've met with all of the coaches, the athletic director. I also met with Mr. Gehagen, who teaches Count 1, Count 2, and we are looking at the potential of pushing the senior trip back to Tuesday, May 4th through Saturday, May 8th. That will actually work out really well if we're able to do that, because Tuesday we do have track meets and we do have, I think, baseball and softball, but we won't meet until like 10 o'clock at night. We like to do something that's outdoors. So the biggest issue would be transporting the students, but we like to go to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, do some whitewater rafting, some hiking, zip lining, things like that. And again, we need to, if possible, provide these seniors an opportunity to do that. And I'm fully aware of some of the restrictions that we currently have. I'm also, aware that, each state is a little bit different, and things are slowly opening up, and hopefully we continue that trend. But we can't wait until April or May to start that process. We got to start now. So, again, I'm hoping that you guys are supportive of us looking into that and hopefully providing a great senior trip for our seniors.
Whatever you got to do to get a trip in my opinion, you do. I mean, any idea how many kids you're going to have this year?
You know what? I honestly can't give you that number right now because I'm hoping it'll be more than normal because they've been trapped.
Yeah, that's right.
They're just ready to do something different. And I'll tell you what, the last few weeks I've been experiencing club volleyball with my youngest, and you cross the line 2.5, 3 miles that way west of us. And I'm at the Coliseum, and there's 32 volleyball courts with 64 teams playing at the exact same time, with 20 more teams waiting to play, and all these parents. And you go to a restaurant now, and it's just amazing the difference in expectations for restrictions. And I'm just hoping that by May we get to that point to where we don't have to worry, I guess. Second part is, of course, talking about prom. Junior senior prom was canceled last year. It's currently scheduled for Saturday, May 1st. And again, we're looking to have a prom this year. We have to start that planning. We have to start putting some deposits down. We will be following COVID protocol and not exceed capacity of our facilities. I want to make sure I say this right. And if necessary, we will wear masks and educate ourselves on the recommendations provided by the state of Ohio and the Defiance County Health Department. So, and I jokingly say it's a lot, it's not that I want to be a rule breaker, but I just think that we have to be smart in how we're handling situations. And, we have a lot of seniors that have never attended prom because their junior year would have been their first opportunity. And of course, to miss 2 years in a row, I think we can do it safely. And that's my goal, and that's our advisor's goal. And then, of course, post-prom, we're already working with, because we reserved a place in Fort Wayne. We could not get Crazy Pin, but we received like a sister location, I believe it's called Georgetown Bowling, which they have a lot of the same equipment and ideas of fun events and things to do for the kids. We've been talking to them. The last time we spoke to them, their capacity was not quite what we need yet, but that was a month ago. And they said check back in another month because we expect things to open up even more prior to the May date. They're confident that we will get our entire party there safely and follow their COVID guidelines in the state of Indiana. So, but again, we have to start the planning now. So, just if you have any questions or concerns over the next few weeks and in the next month, please text me, call me, talk to Mr. Countryman. We'll go from there. Spring break, of course. We speak of March and state testing already. Spring break is March 29th through Friday, April 2nd. When we return from spring break, Mr. Altman and I are kind of working together for our HBA kids getting tested as early as possible. A lot of those kids, their parents are expecting one-to-one or small group, so we're going to bring our HBA kids in immediately after spring break, get that organized, get that going. And then the second week of May, I believe, or April 12th, that's when the middle school and high school are going to start their end of course testing, as we'll be getting into our ELA to start with, and then of course our math, sciences, and history. So, but again, it takes a team to do this of administrators and teachers and guidance counselors and everyone working together to make this happen. It's a lot of work, and I think we've got a good plan. Outside of that, Fort County Career Center Awards Program is May 25th, 2021. I'm not exactly sure if that's going to look like it normally does. I mean, there's usually 2,000 plus people in that facility. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, but I'm hoping it's as normal as possible. And then, of course, keep this in mind, and I have to remind myself sometimes, commencement this year is over Memorial Day weekend. Okay? Typically, it's like the first, yes. Typically, it's the first Sunday in June. It is Sunday, May 30th at 2 p.m. So, that's why on that, please. Thank you.
Any comments or questions?
No, but I do want to thank you, Jeff, for giving us that information on a separate topic on the graduation requirements and taking the time to outline that information for us.
And keep this in mind, the graduation seals piece has a major impact on the testing. We're still taking those tests, okay? All those in-course assessments that we're required to take, but the way they're utilizing those scores isn't the 18 points anymore. Remember that. So we're still working through that piece, and the seals, the acceptance of the seals will help us with that. And then we've just got to start tracking all these different ways for these students to graduate. But again, we're working through those issues, but we'll find a plan.
Okay, thank you. I do not have a four-county report this month, so Superintendent's Report.
Yes, there will be no school for students this Friday, February 26th, as the majority of our staff will be receiving the COVID vaccine this Friday. It would be impossible for us to obtain enough subs in order to have teachers coming and going, and not just teachers, but all employees coming and going from classrooms in order to operate the day. So we thought it would be best to turn that day into a professional development day. It'll still count for us. I actually did not receive official confirmation of that until today. We've talked about this for the last 3-4 weeks, but to notify parents of that ahead of time would have not been a good idea, because there were several schools that didn't get it as they were scheduled to have it. And then last week, I don't know if you know or not, but like Henry County, because of the storms, they weren't able to get theirs, and so they had to reschedule it. So the day they had scheduled off, they had to schedule it back on for students because they didn't have any vaccine there to offer to their employees. So I received the call today and was guaranteed that the vaccine will be here for our employees on Friday. So there will be no school on Friday for students. Now, tentatively, our second shot is scheduled for April 9th on a Friday as well. And again, that's tentative, but if all goes as planned, then the same thing would happen on April 9th as well. So we will send another notification out to parents. I sent one out today, finally, since I had confirmation, and we'll send a reminder out Thursday night. Jeff or Mike will program that for me, thank you, to go out as a reminder to parents that there'll be no school for students on Friday. Thank you. And then the other part, I really don't need to say a whole lot about the building. Eric kind of covered that. I'm just appreciative of everything that they've been doing on that. The deadline was originally set for completion on the 21st of July. They've moved that up to the 14th of July. And before we can move anything in, we have to have the inspection and all that stuff done for us to gain occupancy, which is why Lucas scheduled the equipment to come in August 1st. But there's no doubt that in my mind that will be opened and ready to go for the beginning of the school year, as well as the drive to 18 will be ready as well. So that is the two things. And then I apologize to the board because January was School Board Recognition Month. I have certificates there on your desk for you. January just got away from me because of family personal reasons this year, and I apologize for that, but please know that I appreciate you very much and all you do for our school and the time that you spend making decisions for our school district. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
That's it.
Questions? Okay, we'll move on to minutes and financials. Can I have a motion?
I'll move.
Thank you,
Second.
Steph. Galen? Okay. Minutes from the organizational meeting on January 11th, 2021, and the minutes from the regular board meeting on January 11th, 2021. We also have the treasurer's consent agenda items, cash reconciliation as of January 31st, 2021, financial statements for January of 2021, and approve the amended certificate of estimated resources for fiscal year 2021 as presented. The total general fund resources of $14,460,959.93, and total resources for all funds of $25,437,482.13. To approve the amended fiscal year 2021 permanent appropriations as presented, total general fund appropriations of $11,769,076.58, and total appropriations for all funds of $21,088,381.53. Approve resolution number 2021-09, resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor as presented. Accept the following donations: $150 from ARC Solutions for wrestling, $150 from the Country Pedals for wrestling, $150 from the Hicksville Grain Company for wrestling, 2 pallets of various wood from 5 Acre Mill for the STEAM class, and 1 box of goggles and 1 pallet of bagged cement from Aaron Herman for STEAM class. I'm going to go ahead, we'll do the bottom as well before we talk. Refunding of the outstanding 2006 and 2014 bonds was successfully closed on January 20th of 2021. These bonds were initially approved in the amount of $9,930,000 by the taxpayers of the Hicksville Exempted Village School District in November of 2005 to construct our current school facility. This refunding created a savings to the Hicksville school taxpayers in the amount of $743,272 to be spread out over the remaining 12 years of the outstanding bonds. An annual average interest savings of $61,976, beginning with calendar year 2022. The associated millage reduction is estimated to be 0.56 mils. Comments or Mike that you would like to include?
Yeah, the original for those bonds was passed way back in November of '05, and they're set up that they can be refunded every so often, with the idea to be able to save money, save interest. So if you enter into them, whatever the market rate is at the time, and that as time goes by, the market rate changes up or down. It has going down, and they were partially refunded in 2006, and then refunded again here in January of 2021. This refunding, as Jen mentioned, saved our constituents, our taxpayers in our community, $743,000 over the remaining of the bonds. That equates to about 0.56 mils. So that will come in effect here like in calendar 2022 tax year. So it was a great opportunity. We did an advanced placement with a bank, and I think it turned out very well. So
You
I'm
saved
sure
the
that wasn't.
taxpayers-
Go.
Well, you saved the taxpayers a lot of money, thank
Yes,
you.
thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for all the hard work
Yeah.
getting that done.
I'm sure it was a lot of extra work. Thank
There's
you.
a few steps to go through,
A
but
lot, yeah.
yeah, it
Thank
turned
you.
out really nice.
Awesome, thank you.
I also wanted to mention, speaking of reduction of millage, approving here was the resolution for the tax rates, and even there, the millage dropped 0.2 mils for the bond levy then. So as tax revenues change, if there's enough there in a balance to cover our debt, the county auditor automatically reduces that millage. Again, as noted, we'll see a bigger decrease down the road when this refunding takes place. As far as money, I got some more good news. The ESSER 2 grants associated with the COVID and the CARES Act and all that. We received ESSER 1 back in the fall of this school year. It's $126,000 or something like that. This ESSER 2, the amount that we will be receiving is $491,831.
Wow.
So I'll be working, Mr. Countryman and I, and probably work with some other administrators to determine how we want to use that money. Also, good financial news is the state revenues have come in better than they had anticipated, tax revenues. And going back to last fiscal year when the pandemic started and the governor, Mr. DeWine, cut back our funding for our school, our amount was $143,000, about 2.2% of state funding. This year was along that it was the exact same amount that based off the 2019 revenues, we were going to be reduced to $143,000. With the state revenue coming in better than anticipated, that amount has been reduced. The reduction has been reduced down to $64,900. So it was basically we have a give back of $78,800. So I think that's excellent news, especially during the uncertainty of our environment over the last year, that those revenues were still strong enough that the governor was able to put money back towards school districts. Also, with that said, is the state of Ohio has a $2.7 billion rainy day fund. The governor has not touched that, so I guess that's still there if if something would turn to the worst. But anyways, a couple good financial pieces there to present to you.
I like when you come in with good news like that.
That's right.
Well,
Awesome.
Yeah, as a treasurer, that doesn't always happen.
Right.
So, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Okay. Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. Need a motion for employment of certified staff?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Craig and Steph, thank you. Recommend to approve Pam Payne as a certified substitute for the 2021 school year. Recommend to approve the following supplemental contracts for the 2021 school year. Ryan Miser, assistant basketball coach, 40%. Heather Taylor, prom advisor, 1/3. Heather Taylor, junior high girls track coach. Kelly Van Horn, junior high boys track coach. Rachel Werman, assistant volleyball coach. Recommend to approve the following as a volunteer for the 2021 school year. Josh Freese, track. Any questions or comments? Roll call?
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. We have an addendum to the employment of certified staff. I'll need a motion.
I'll move.
Steph, thank you.
I'll second.
Minda, thank you. Recommend to approve the following supplemental contract for the 2021 school year. Ellen Gherkin, high school musical director.
I apologize that we missed that. It just was a miss.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
And Mrs. Carrier?
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. Need a motion for employment of classified staff.
I'll move.
Second.
Minda and Galen, thank you. Recommend to approve the following supplemental contracts for the 2021 school year. Jennifer Bergman, high school musical director assistant. James Egley, high school boys assistant track coach. Phil Handy, assistant baseball coach, 35%. Danielle Myers, prom advisor, 1/3. Jamie Parker, co-freshman class advisor. Pam Payne, high school girls assistant track coach. Jamie Slattery, prom advisor, 1/3. Lucas Yoder, assistant baseball coach, 25%. Recommend to approve the following as volunteers for the 2021 school year. Jeff Schroeder, softball. Madison Siebenauer, track. Mike Valena, softball. Recommend to approve the retirement resignation from Rita Bell as EMIS secretary at the conclusion of the 2021 school year.
Rita will be missed. She's been here a long time, and she's certainly done a lot for the school, and it was a tough decision for her. She cried when she delivered her letter, so.
She runs a pretty tight ship, doesn't she?
She sure
I'm
does.
together, Dad.
Yeah, she does.
I'm sure.
Fingerprints when I
does.
come in.
I was going to say, I'm
Yeah.
sure every parent has received a call from her.
In every school that I've been in, that attendance secretary is on top of everything.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to be able to trust them to take care of all that stuff, because it really is a lot to
It is.
It is.
take care of.
It is so much more than just attendance.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
certainly will miss her.
Yes. Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
And Mrs. Carrier?
Yes.
Sorry.
Motion passes 5-0. Other business, I need a motion.
I'll move.
Is that Craig?
And I'll second.
And Steph, thank you. Recommend to approve the 21-22 school year calendar, and recommend to approve local graduation seals for the Hicksville Exempted Village Schools.
I
Discussion,
like the
comments?
local seals. They're good, Jeff.
Mhm.
Tell me what the fine arts or performing arts, like what all could be in that? Is that like music, band, musical?
Music, band, art one, art two, ceramics,
Okay.
anything like that. So, and
Okay.
again, it's a combination of two or, specializing in one.
Okay.
The drama classes, do they count as that also? The
I would
one
assume
that
performing
elected
arts
that,
Probably would, yes.
yeah.
Like participation in the play. Yeah.
So when it says 3 units, like if it's art, would that be a whole year, or would it be a whole year?
Whole year, 1 year.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. They're
And
good,
again,
thank you.
I know there's probably in the email or the last discussion, the goal is we can't create these seals that are unattainable.
right.
Because we have a lot of kids that move into our district from out of state and other places, and we've got to be able to adapt to them. So we want them to be as
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. Any old business? Okay. Any discussion or unannounced guests wishing to address the board?
Just a quick question. I'm assuming that we're going to have like an open house type thing for that building. So just
Yes, we are gonna have an open house for that. Yes.
perfect.
It won't be scheduled, we'll schedule it, have it scheduled, but it won't be till after we've had occupancy and we get everything in there. So I'm thinking shortly before the start of the school year.
Okay.
But yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe, you know, when the parents come in for, you know,
That
like the
open
elementary
house.
night or whatever.
True, yeah,
um,
Like sometime in
We
Fair
could go for a
Fair
quick
Week,
walk.
yeah.
if we have fair.
Yeah, if we have open house. Okay. I need a motion to go into executive session.
I'll move.
Let's say 6:35. Good? Okay.
I'll second.
Galen and Minda, 6:35. We are going in for number 1, and then there will be no action taken afterwards, and we will return on March 15th at 5:30 for our next board meeting. Oh, can I have roll call?
Yes, Madam President. Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazur? And Mrs. Carrier?
Yes. Motion passes 5-0.
And we are going to be meeting at our regularly scheduled
Yes.
time. Excellent. Okay.
Yes. So the 15th is our regular scheduled at 5:30.